Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Ayleen, and this is Medicine Walk. And for those of you, excuse me, who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So, things are starting to open up again. Things are starting to, um, businesses are opening up a little bit more. Recreational things are opening up a little bit more. And there's something that is kind of kicking in that is what I want to talk about today. We talked about the isolated empath. Well, today we're going to talk about the re-emerging empath. And this can be a kind of a tricky thing because I've been talking to, a lot of my friends who are empathic, and some of them are really experiencing, anywhere from reluctance to anxiety about re-entering the world, about going back into the noise and into, all of the energy when they've actually started to get used to the quiet. They've gotten used to only resonating with themselves, of having only themselves up in here. And that can be a little bit difficult because once you get used to the solitude, once you get used to the quiet, suddenly everything else does seem very loud and it does seem overwhelming. And it is, it's a challenge on two different levels. First, for the empaths who have grown accustomed to the quiet and accustomed to the stillness because it was something that they may never have known to this degree for this amount of time. And it's nice. It's very comforting. It's comfortable. And you start to learn things like, what do I like? And what am I interested in? And what would I prefer? As opposed to simply reflecting what's around you. And once you reach that point, suddenly it's sort of like being in a dark theater watching a wonderful movie, and then you step out into the glaring sunlight and it's too bright. And it can be. And it can be uncomfortable. Now, the other side of the coin is that people who have been missing that contact and that connection and just want to throw themselves head on into it. So in both cases, there are problems. One, if you're reluctant, then it means that you're not going to be able to comfortably step back into situations like going back to work, like, suddenly everybody, is calling you and, hey, Luna, oh, goodness. Everyone is calling you to get together, and you feel obligated because your empathy connects you to them and they really want to get together and you don't really want to get together, but you do it anyway. And it's uncomfortable and you really dislike doing it. And there are those who are, the enthusiastic or overly enthusiastic, re-entering, folks. And what happens is that they will put themselves, there you go, they will put themselves into risky situations or, we are still dealing with a crisis. We are still dealing with a virus or the infection, COVID-19. It hasn't gone anywhere. And, there aren't any vaccines yet. And it's not a matter of if there's going to be another surge. It's a matter of when and how bad. So what we need to be aware of as we re-enter the world is it is still necessary to wear masks. It is still necessary to socially distance. And if you're somebody who has been so starved for outward energy that you place yourself at risk by going into heavily concentrated groups of people, that can be a problem because you are not only are you putting yourself at risk, you're putting the people who you connect with at risk. So how do we find the happy medium for that? How do we help both those extremes? Well, first off, for the person who is, let's start with the second. Let's start with the one who is so starved for other people's energies that they want to throw themselves into a mosh pit. Keep in mind that once you get there, you may find that you've jumped into the deep end. You may find that after this period of quiet, what you seem to want most is going to overwhelm you. And if you start to feel overwhelmed, back out. You need to give yourself that time to acclimate. It's sort of like climbing a mountain. And if you're climbing like a really tall mountain, you've got to stop like every 1,000 feet and acclimate to the altitude. So you can get sort of an empathic altitude sickness in a way. And while it's not as severe physically, it can be severe emotionally. Because once you feel overwhelmed, then you lose any control you have over your empathy, and the floodgates are open. So, just be mindful of what you're feeling. And that if, that mosh pit suddenly starts to feel like it's closing in on you, that is a natural reaction. It's a natural feeling. It just means you need to back off. It doesn't mean that you suddenly have to go and live on a mountain by yourself. No, it just means that you need to allow yourself time to reacclimate to, the level of activity and the level of energy and the level of frequencies that you are resonating with. So you can kind of build your energy back up for that. So it doesn't jar you as much. Now, for the reluctant empath, the one who is, really having a lot of anxiety about going back into the world because, the walls around you have become a very safe place and you don't have to deal with anybody's energies. You got to go back out there. It's necessary. And it's necessary because it's necessary for you. You don't have to just jump into the deep end. You can ease your way back in. Don't commit to all of the invitations. Maybe choose one with just a couple of people. Ease your way in. Keep the social distancing, and you've got the perfect excuse. You can say, well, I'm still very concerned about COVID-19, and there's a lot of science that can back you up. And it's like, well, I can't go to that big party, but let's say you and I find a nice outdoor restaurant and we can have a lunch. Or, just start off with one or two people, because that is an easy way for you to just start kind of getting out there a little bit, maybe a couple of more trips to the grocery store, find your way, through that. Just allow energies to be gentle around you as you start to get more accustomed to increasing levels and returning them back to the level. Because remember, you used to work at that level. You can reach it again. It's okay. And it's okay that you feel reluctant. So make sure that you are doing whatever it is, whatever end of the spectrum or wherever along it you are. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Make sure you are listening to what you need. And make sure that you're not placing the needs of others over what you need. If you need more time, take more time. And just because everybody else is going back in doesn't mean you have to go back in at the same pace. It does not mean you have to jump into a great big party or a great big barbecue where you're not comfortable. Let yourself reacclimate to the level of energy and the level of emotions and the personal energetics that you are encountering, because you can take your time with that. It's okay. And if you need to withdraw a little bit more, then, take a few steps out, one step back, and, ease your way into it. Whatever it is you do, please take care of yourself and please be safe. Masks, social distancing, still avoid big crowded situations if you can. Don't let yourself get pulled into something that is not working for you. So this is a wonderful way for you to practice autonomy and practice bringing your sense of control back into your empathic work, because this way you can be the one to decide, not your empathic part, but your conscious part, saying, what do I need right now? What would help me feel okay? Do I need to ease in, or do I need to, instead of jump in, maybe back off a little bit? Make sure that, I can leave if I need to. I mean, be your own ride, get an Uber, whatever. But make sure that you can, if you go into a situation and you find yourself in over your head, you start feeling like, the room is kind of coming in on you, getting that slightly claustrophobic feeling, or you begin to lose yourself in what's going on around you. Leave. Get out. Go, even if it's just going outside and catching a couple of breaths of air, but it would be best if you left. And then you could always try it again later. So, re-entry can be challenging, and you can do this. And if you need help, please feel free to contact me. You can follow me on Twitter. You can reach me through my Facebook group, Medicine Walk with Dr. Ayleen, or you can email me, and my email address is in the description. For those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, you can leave comments there, and I encourage you to follow the link in the description to the YouTube page, and you can check that out, and subscribe if you like. If this video worked for you, please like the video, and you can share it, comment on it, and I always do check the comments. And if you really want to support it, then it would be awesome if you would subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And if you have, most of the people who watch my videos are subscribed, so thank you so much for that. And if you know somebody who you think would benefit from this, if you know an empath who is struggling, then please share the videos with them. So, thank you for joining me. As always, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you, and see you next time. Bye.